Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. And welcome to week 3 of the 2024 NFL season. And you've seen a lot of surprise teams thus far this season. The Saints dominated Dallas. Minnesota looks brand new. Philly, complete disarray. Baltimore's falling apart. Tampa Bay looks really good. I mean, there's a lot of head-scratching moments right now, and a lot of teams you're kind of looking at, like, what's going on. Injury bug has really played havoc on a lot of these franchises, so we'll definitely play into. So before I dive into Week 3's preview and picks, I'm going to go ahead and look back at Week 2 and try to do a quick synopsis and playthrough. With my picks, yeah, not so much. I am going 7-9. A lot of these games did not go the way I foresaw. One was a complete blowout. Saw other ones a little bit closer, but leaning the other direction. And let's go ahead and go with last Thursday. Amazon Prime's debut as Thursday Night Football. A huge AFC East showdown between the Bills and Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins because they're at home. And Buffalo came to play. On the sadder things of the aspect, Tua Tagavolia suffered another concussion. He was actually driving, lowered his head to make a little bit more. He hit Hamlin, the Hamlin from like 2 years ago, who actually literally died on the field in Cincinnati, and suffered another concussion. You saw as soon as he hit, he went stiff. You saw it right away. He vowed to come, after the game, whatnot, he vowed to come back. The Dolphins did the correct thing and saved Tua from himself and put him on the IR, which means he's going to be out for 4 weeks. I believe that's the best course of action for him. Unfortunately, he's going to be one of these players that's just going to suffer from concussions quite frequently, and then it's just going to get worse for him. There's already been talks among the non-players of him retiring. Tua's not going to retire. If he's out there in a wheelchair, he'll be out there in a wheelchair. But the Dolphins did the right thing. Saved himself from any further injury. Just put him on the shelf for 4 weeks, let him heal up, and then you go right back into it. On the side of the game, Buffalo was just way too much. Routed the Dolphins, giving me my first loss of the season. Then we have to the Big D, where the Cowboys playing host to the Saints, and the Big D means no defense. Welcome to Alice, as Stephen A. Smith would put it. The defense was just demolished as Carr and Kamala just ran amok and just put up a lot of points. And Dallas could not rebound whatsoever. They had no answers. No answers at all. I had no answers because I didn't believe in the Saints' hype because they played the Carolina Panthers. I fell for the hype for the Cowboys because they went to Cleveland and won and took care of a really good defense and took care of a decent offense. The tale of two tapes, and the Cowboys got wrecked at home, losing to the Saints bigly, and giving me loss number 2. Then we have to the Motor City, where Tampa Bay came to play. Jared Goff didn't have, we're 300 yards passing, but he could not find the end zone. That's one the things that really hampered him is Tampa Bay was almost a bend don't break, as they wouldn't allow the aerial attack to really complete the invasion into the end zone. Goff ended up having 2 interceptions. Baker Mayfield was just meh. But his meh was good enough, especially behind that Buccaneers defense, as the Buccaneers left Detroit 2016 victors, giving me loss number 3. Then we head over to Lambeau, where the Titans cast off Malik Willis, was now in charge, thanks to the Jordan Love injury. I looked at what Richardson did against the Texans, and I thought, okay, you should make a nice stride here. End up having 3 picks, 1 touchdown. Josh Jacobs just ran the ball down the Colts' throat, over 100 yards, 150 yards rushing. The Packers squeaked past the Colts 16-10, giving me loss number 4. And now I'm just scratching my head, and I was like, well, what can I do? I mean, it was just loss after loss. But then we go to Music City, where the Jets landed in there, take on the Titans. It wasn't for Will Levis making another bonehead play. They could have won. Plain simple. Jets were meh. They're not firing all cylinders. There's one of the engines are out, but they're able to escape the Music City 24-17 win, giving me my first win. They're up to Minnesota, and Sam Darnold was playing like what the Jets wanted him to play. It's taken him a few teams, but he's landing a system that's right for him, and he is thriving. Jefferson might be out next week. I think he got injured towards the end, but McCaffrey, beginning of this game, was put on the IR, so he's gone for 4 weeks. And he wasn't playing last week, and he did extremely well running the football, so I figure there'd be no issue. I guess not. Brock Purdy came down a little bit. I mean, he still had over 300 yards passing, TDing and a pick. He just couldn't get that second touchdown. And the Vikings were able to hold on to beat the 49ers 23-17. Give me number 5. They're here to Foxborough, the Seahawks and Patriots going at it, and this was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. The Patriots definitely look like a team that could make a few shocks throughout the season. They already did one when they hunted the Bengals in the jungle. They almost grounded the Seahawks, but Seahawks able to win 23-20 in OT. Down to DC, and Jane Daniels was all right, over 200 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks. They did a lot of running the football. Malik Neighbors is trying to do his best to help Daniels out, Daniel Jones out for the Giants. And the Giants, who did not allow a single touchdown, lost the game 21-16. But hey, give me win number 3. Charlotte, Chargers, no problems there. I mean, they didn't lap the scoreboard, but they still walked away 23-6. And now Bryce Young is being benched for Andy Dalton to start week 3. So I think Bryce Young is definitely one of these quarterbacks needs to find a new home, because he's not able to thrive right now in Carolina. Right down to Jacksonville, where this game I actually looking more towards the Jags, because how they played last week compared to what the Browns did last week. And once again, it's just a flip. I mean, you don't know who's going to show up and when teams are going to start performing. And this is another one of these things where the Browns showed up. Deshaun Watson actually ran for a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence couldn't find the end zone. It's just one of these things. And Cleveland escaped Jacksonville 18-13. Give me another L. And the Baltimore, the Raiders came in to take on the Ravens. And I thought it was going to be the Ravens' game to bounce back. But once again, they're having a hard time utilizing Derrick Henry. I mean, they gave him enough where he had 84 yards and a touchdown. That was it. They couldn't do much anything else, and the Raiders were just plucking away. Devontae Adams is trying to lift up Minshew with 110 yards receiving and a touchdown. That's the only touchdown Minshew had, and almost half of Minshew's passing yards. As the Raiders escaped Baltimore 26-23 victors. I called the Cardinals beating the Rams. The Rams keep losing receivers now. It's just now Cup's gone. Nukio's gone. They got that big hole on the defensive line with the retirement, and the Rams are just a shell of the former selves. Could they move up? I don't know. Marvin Harrison Jr. was stellar for the Cardinals. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, as the Desert Birds end up winning 41-10. In the Mile High, this one I struggled with. I did get him going to Denver, but Justin Fields, once again, stepped up, won his second straight start, threw for a touchdown. He had no picks. Bo Nix did. He ended up getting 2. They're not lining up the scoreboard, but their defense is actually keeping in the games, and actually the offense is scoring just enough points to win, and Pittsburgh ended up squeaking out 13-6. And then Chiefs and Bengals collided, and the Bengals came back. I didn't think they had a shot. Pacquiao ended up leaving this game. He got injured. That could really hamper the Chiefs later on. So see how they can progress further on down the road. But took a last-second field goal by Buckner to seal the deal. And over to Houston. Went to the Sunday Night Football between the Bears and the Texans, and it kind of lived up to the hype. I mean, both defenses were creating enough havoc to the quarterbacks. Mixon actually got hurt a little bit, so he was a non-factor for the Texans. But it wasn't for the defense and Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans. It could be a different game. There's a lot of catches that should have been made that didn't get made by the Bears that could have changed the whole aspect of the game. But at the end, the defense stepped up, pressured Williams too many times. He ended up getting sacked like 7 times. So the offensive line has a lot of issues they have to work out. Maybe we should start looking at trying to get a replacement or adding another O-lineman somewhere to kind of beef up Caleb Williams' defense. But the Texans ended up winning 19-13, giving me my last victory of the week. And Monday Night Football. This went back and forth. And I don't know, that last sequence of the game is telling. Kirk Cousins wasn't really have that great of a game. I mean, he still had over 240 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And they were able to run the ball, as they were. But at the very end, the Eagles were down at the end. It was like not 3rd and goal, but like 3rd and 3. And they make it to the 2-yard line to reset the downs, pretty much ice the game. And everyone thought, okay, Barkley up the middle. So what do? You let Barkley go out to the flat. Jalen Hurts throws to him. Perfect design play. If it worked, he would have been a genius. Unfortunately, Barkley dropped the ball. So he had to settle for the field goal. If he would have made the catch and scored the touchdown, we would not be having any sorts of conversations right now about the Eagles. That didn't happen. The ensuing drive, Kirk Cousins was able to pick apart the Eagles because the Eagles did not rush him and played such a very soft zone that once the receiver caught the ball 15 yards later, his route's like 15 yards, catches it, and then has like another 5 more yards on top of that before he even gets touched. That tells you how bad the defense was that time frame. Couldn't stop them. Eagles and Falcons ended up scoring a touchdown, take the 1-point advantage. Ensuing drive for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts throws an interception. That's it. The Eagles fall at home, and the city of brotherly love is not too brotherly right now in terms of the Eagles, and we'll just kind of see how things play out. But that's how I went 7-9. Very bad showing for a lot of teams. I think a lot of them just a bad game. It's only week 2. You still have plenty more football to go, but certain teams have to look at what to do to try to hit the next level, basically. So let's kick things off for Thursday night, where the Patriots will take on the Jets. And right now, by the time I'm taking this, recording this video, the Jets are favored by 6. I'm going to push back on that. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I have a feeling the Jets are going to have to come back from behind to win this game. The way New England's playing right now, they are going to be are a difficult team to beat. They've already proven they can win on the road already in a hostile environment. The Jets are not at their full potential. I think the Patriots pretty much are. And if you're not playing at your best game, the Patriots will end up winning. But I do think the Jets will squeak out the victory. But I do think it's going to be a 3-point advantage. But I'm still giving the game to the Jets. Now, the banks of Lake Erie in Cleveland, Ohio, they play host to the hapless Giants. I think the Giants had their best game opportunity against Washington last week. I don't see that happening again. But if Cleveland continues to have struggles, they're going to find things a little more difficult right now. Cleveland's favored by 6.5. I'm more inclined to go with 6. Because right now, Cleveland's not giving me anything to really hang my hat on and go, okay, yeah, this is this is a legit team. There's still questions on that offense for me. The defense with Myles Garrett, he can get back there and disrupt Daniel Jones all day long. I mean, that's not going to be an issue. So I think the Cleveland defense should affect the Giants enough. I think the Browns offense should be too much for the G-men defense. But I do think it's going to be a closer game. That's why I'm only going 6 with this, but I'm also going with Cleveland. Then you have the Packers heading down to Nashville, and Malik Willis taking on his former team and his rival, Will Levis, who beat him out for the starting position. And a lot of other animosity between these two. And the way Malik played last week, I think he's going to look at this game as a revenge game, especially if he's the one starting. Never heard either way if Jordan Love's going to be back or not. I'm going to put more on the money that he's not back yet. And I'll let Malik Willis go in there looking for revenge. Try to calm him down. It's like, listen, I know what you're looking for. Just do this the right way. And the legs of Josh Jacobs and just let him run. I don't think Tennessee's going to stop him. Right now, Tennessee's favored by 2.5. I don't believe it at all. Will Levis will make another costly mistake. He's done it 2 weeks in a row now. It's cost the games both times. He's going to make it 3 in a row. I'm picking the Packers to win in the Music City. The Colts and the Bears clash at Indy. This should be an interesting one. Can Richardson kind of bounce back? So right now, he has some fantastic numbers, over 400 yards passing in 2 games, but he does have 4 picks. And with the Bears defense, you don't want to do that because they have shown that they can run the ball back. The thing is, can the Bears defense stifle the run of Taylor? I mean, he has 150 yards in 2 games. Not the best numbers, but you can definitely see where things are kind of looking at. Can the Bears offensive line hold back the Colts defense and give Caleb Williams enough time to cook back there and make those throws? Can the receivers actually catch the ball? Sometimes our reliable hands just don't catch the ball, and it put Bears in bad positions. I think the Bears can look to find ways to counter that, find ways to score. Right now, the line is Colts by 1. So, in essence, this is the pick'em game. I'm being biased. I am taking the Bears to win on the road. Then we head up to Minnesota, where the Texans come to town, and a battle of 2 undefeated teams. Now, I think a lot of people thought the Texans would be at this point, but nobody's thought Minnesota to be here. Now, if Mixon's not injured, this should put a lot of emphasis on the Texans to move up. But can, the young defensive line get past the veteran, the Vikings O-line to get to Darnold? Should be a question mark right there. Because if Sam's got enough time to cook and Jefferson's still available for this game, and make connection to him, it's going to be a long day for the Texans defense. And we've seen the past 2 weeks have Minnesota has come out anywhere and just racked up the numbers. But Houston's one of these teams that could do that as well. The Mixon aspect and I'm kind of leaning towards Minnesota in this game. Right now, Houston's favored by 2. I get that. I think I'm going to buck the trend, and I'm going to take the Vikings at home. Now, the big easy where the Saints come in, host the Philadelphia Eagles, or just struggling right now, get that loss at home in the final drive, and it's just fingers getting pointed already. A leader has to set up with the Eagles, and no one's taking that charge yet. Jalen Hurts is definitely not doing that. But he has put in some fantastic numbers in the air. But you got to figure that with a Kellen Winslow's offense. The quarterback always has great numbers. They got to continue to run the ball. But that's what the Saints going to do is run the ball. So who is going to have the better running attack? Who's going to find ways to pick apart the defenses? If the Eagles show up with the defense like they did against the Falcons towards the end of that game, the Eagles are in trouble for the rest of the season. Right now, the Saints are favored by 2.5. I like it. I'm going with the Saints as well. To the Steel City, where the Chargers come to town. A battle of 2 undefeated teams once again. Can Justin Herbert better Justin Fields? Can Harbaugh outdo Tomlin? Is it Watts or Bosa? Definitely some interesting takes going on with this matchup. And for me, the question marks on Justin Fields and that offense is what is kind of based on my decision on this game for. I mean, nothing against Justin Fields. He is an athlete. He has shown his capabilities to be able to perform. They've given him the right tools, they give him the right time, the right environment. He can succeed. He's doing that right now in Pittsburgh, and he couldn't do that in Chicago. Herbert's is doing the exact same thing he's always done. Doesn't matter what he has or whose his coaches are, he's still performing. It's which defense is going to create the turnover that would change the aspect of the game. That's going to be big. Again, the Chargers limit T.J. Watt's effectiveness. Can the Pittsburgh goal line limit Bosa and Mack from doing too much attack in the backfield? Right now, Pittsburgh's favored by 1. I'm taking the Chargers in this one. This is another one I think it's a toss-up. Like the Houston, Minnesota, I think Philly, New Orleans is the same way, Chicago, Indianapolis. A lot of close games this week. The battle in the defeated, I'm going to take the Chargers edging out the Steelers at home. Then you got the Broncos and the Buccaneers colliding. This one, I think, is going to be a no-brainer. The way the Buccaneers have been playing right now, Baker he's been baking cakes back there. I mean, over 470 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and a pick. He's been a focal point of this. Godwin has been receiving almost half of his yards, 200 yards. So Godwin's been a huge factor in Baker's success right now. The defense has been stepping up. Bo Nix is struggling as the offense in Denver. I don't see any issues. Tampa Bay by 6.5. I like it. Bucks. Out to Vegas, the Panthers come to town. Remember, Andy Dalton now is a starter as Bryce Young's been benched. Nothing's doesn't going to make a difference. Who is leading these kitty cats? Minshew right now. Devontae Adams is just having a field day. He gets more touchdowns, but Minshew just gets the ball to Devontae Adams. That should be enough. Max Crosby is going to be in the backfield anyways. I have a feeling Andy Dalton's going to get injured, and Young's going to be thrown right back in there. The line is Vegas by 5. think it's going to be a lot more than that, but definitely Raiders. Seahawks and Dolphins collide, and with Tua being out, it's a different Dolphins offense, and I don't know if it's going to be the same thing. The Seahawks probably going to struggle a bit. They always seem to do. This is going to be a track meet between the receivers. I really think so. The line has it Seattle by 4. Sure. It's hard to see this one going any direction, but 6 points. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult thing. But I think Seattle's going to be just a little too much for Miami. The Cowboys stay at home, bring in the winless Ravens. Who would have thought that would be the case? I had them being 2-0 this time frame, this being a huge game between these two franchises. But the way the Cowboys played last week, if the Ravens can get back to running the game, running the football with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, feeding off each other, the Cowboys are going to struggle. You're going to concentrate on the run first, and then Lamar will be able to find ways to get it out. If the Ravens can limit the effectiveness of Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, which I think they can, I'll give this to the Ravens. Make the Cowboys go 0-2 at home. Right now, the line is Baltimore by 1.5. But this is also one of those, I think, pick 'em games. Yeah, I think you go with either one and you'll be fine. Head out to L.A. where the Rams play host to the 49ers. Regardless of the injuries with the 49ers, with McCaffrey, Mason should be fine. I mean, he almost 250 yards in two games. So the Rams continue to have the injury bug hamper them. I think it's going to be another case of that. San Fran's favored by 7. I see no fault with that one either. Niners. Detroit is going to have to the desert to take on the Cardinals, and Detroit's got to lick their wounds after the Buccaneers shaved them. Goff's got to brush that game off completely because he was just horrible. But can Detroit hamper Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s connection? That's going to be a key question. Can Detroit defense bounce back? I think they can. Right now, Detroit's favored by 3 points. Yeah, I am not too sure about that one, but I think it's going to be a closer game than that. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona wins this game. Just the way Detroit kind of laid an egg against Tampa Bay. But I'm also going with the Lions to win in Arizona. Sunday night, Chiefs and Falcons. The Chiefs without Pacquiao possibly for this game could change the aspect of the Chiefs. The way Atlanta's playing right now, they bounced back greatly from their Week 1 letdown. Had a great drive at the end of the game when they needed to. I have a feeling they can do the exact same thing to Atlanta. Bijan Robinson could definitely run the football effectively, which would then allow Kirk Cousins to have time to be able to find his receivers. But can Mahomes continue to trend? It's the way the Chiefs have looked the first 2 games. I mean, you saw the great game they had the first week, and the second week you saw the decline. I have a feeling you'll see another decline this week. I'm going to take the Falcons to win at home against the Chiefs to move to 2-1. And then Monday night, we have a pair of Monday night games. We'll start off in Western New York with the Bills that will take on the Jaguars. And for some reason, Trevor Lawrence can't seem to find the end zone. And the Bills have just been firing away as they should. I mean, Cook, almost 150 yards on the ground in 2 games, 2 touchdowns. So if you could put up another 75 yards, touchdown on the ground, Josh Allen's going to put up at least 2 touchdowns. The defense, I think, is good enough to limit the Jaguars to 2 touchdowns. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 5. I kind of like those numbers as well. I am also taking the Bills. And then the other side, you have Washington and Cincinnati going out. Cincinnati right now is 0-2. They need this win to stay in the hunt. Joe Burrow is still putting up some phenomenal numbers, over 400 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. But they need to be able to stop this young Commanders offense from doing anything. And that's going to be part of the issues that Bengals front's going to have to worry about. They did pretty good against Kansas City, kind of they ended up losing, but they were able to force some turnovers and stand when they had to, and that's what they got to do against Washington. But I think Washington's going to make a few drives. Cincinnati's favored by 7.5. I think it's going to be closer than what the Bengals want. I'll take Cincinnati to win at home to finish off this week. Well, there you go. Those are my picks, and we'll see if I can improve from my 7-9 performance last week. See if I can get back to my 10 wins I did in the first week. Be a nice surprise. But let me know which team so far is shocking you so far this season. Which game you're looking forward to this week? Is your team doing all right? Let's mix it up in the comments below. The more engagement I have, the better algorithm goes to get out to the masses and let people listen to the ramblings of this crazy man. And let's be civil and whatnot. If you're still here, you like what I do, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It really, boosts this video out a lot. Another thing you can do, not many of you do, is you can subscribe. This costs you a dime. Helps me tremendously. You click that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn notifications so next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.